Once upon a time, there was Bitcoin. But not just Bitcoin. Right after that, there came a whole lot of other altcoins. All of these coins, they have their own peer-to-peer network. So they connect and bootstrap themselves in a decentralized network that contacts other computers. And they form a network just like Bitcoin does. They also have their own algorithm. They also have their own blockchain, so they transact the value amongst peers, and these transactions are recorded in the blockchain. Now the problem of all these coins is that a lot of them have small markets, and so this led to pumps and dumps. So a lot of people started buying up these coins to make the price rise, and this brought in other people believing that the price would go up and would only keep going up. And so wanting to, also profit from this, they would buy into the coin at the same time. But after that, it would be dumped by those initial investors. And there's some people that can live with this and say, this is just part of the game. But there's also a lot of people that don't know what they're getting into, and that might have invested their grandmother's money in this. And for them, it's quite sad. So as a result, many people in the altcoin scene started becoming a bit more careful. These pumps and dumps also led to declines in the prices of all of these altcoins, because many people didn't trust this situation, and they didn't want to park too much of their value in it. And so that led a lot of people to go either back to Bitcoin or stop with cryptocurrencies altogether. A good example of this is Aurora coin. This coin had an ideal, which was, let's create a coin for Iceland, because they have an economy that has devalued a lot in the past years. And so what they wanted to do is create a cryptocurrency that the Icelanders could use as currency. So half of the coins were meant to be given away to the Icelanders in something they called an airdrop, and the other half was being given to investors. And so in the beginning, people were enthusiastic about the idea, and the price of the coin rose to, I believe, even $14 per coin. But then as soon as the coin started to be given to the Icelanders, a lot of these people thought, well, that's nice, we're getting free value, free money, so let's just convert that back into euros, and, then we'll have some free money. And so that made the price devaluate very fast. And so it made it look very much like a pump and dump as well. And maybe effectively it was. A story came which was also put into a comic by cryptocomics.com, where we see that, the Aurora coin falls out of the sky, all dead and bloody. And then they say, that's right, must be the airdrop. However, this did not stop innovation into other ideas like decentralized assets, smart contract systems. We also saw Ethereum, which is a special smart contract system that can run code on its own blockchain system, and it can be done decentralized. But also things like Mastercoin, BitShares, Counterparty, NXT, that made it possible to have your own assets on top of a blockchain, making it possible for everybody to issue assets. Effectively, that made for a crypto stock market. Next to that, we also had other innovations like open transactions, which tries to create possibilities for people to run federated financial systems, or Codius, that makes it possible to run your own code in a sandbox, and thus be able to connect different types of blockchain applications to each other by sandboxed solutions. With Bitcoin, if you want to mine Bitcoin, you have to really have a lot of computing power by now. So we also see, centralization coming back into this, decentralized idea, where it was first the idea that everybody would be able to mine Bitcoins on their own computer. And yes, that's still possible right now, but most people don't do it because it's basically useless against these huge server farms that are mining many more Bitcoins than any individual could do right now. It's very difficult to compete against that. At the same time, because of all these new technologies, many people competing to try and show that their technology is the best, it also creates fragmentation of the crypto freedom ideas. So we could say mighty blockchains are all vying to be the most relevant blockchain technology. They're seeking to take the crown of cryptos for themselves, to say, look, we're the best technology out there, and you should use our technology and implement it in your company or in your organization. So what to do about this? Well, we have kind of a joke about this, and it's like, keep calm and in the dark nets find them. So what we could do is, instead of letting just all these systems compete amongst each other, we could try and get them to work together. This is a picture of the development of the internet itself. It's called the evolution of the internet, and if you look at it like DuckDuckGo, for example, it's quite easy to find the website. It shows the technology HTTP being one of the first technologies being developed for the internet. And after that, other things come in like HTML1, but also browser technologies are being developed like Netscape and Opera, and later on Internet Explorer. And we get Ajax and other technologies that come in. And all these together form the internet as we know it today. Some of these have been competing in the past. You know, for example, some people were critical about the fact that Flash was closed source. And by now we have the open standard of HTML5 to be able to make all these, make interactive web apps possible without these two technologies. So yes, there was some competition. However, a lot of technologies were also built to work together and create this structure of the internet. I think to cultivate freedom to remain in the cryptosphere, we should do the same for cryptocurrencies. We should network them together to create an internet of value. So one of the ways we propose this to be done is using a hybrid asset. A hybrid asset is an asset essentially that lives on two blockchains or more blockchains at the same time. And it's synchronized over different blockchains and ledger systems. And for that we need a meta network. So how can this be done? Well, first of all, we need to define that a hybrid asset has a one-on-one cross-blockchain value definition. The transfer of value from one blockchain to another can be done with atomic transactions, but this is still a work in progress. And so why not look at different things at the same time and try to approach this from different disciplines? What we're both looking for, either if we're working atomically or if we're using hybrid assets, is trustless and anonymous transactions. And so what we need to do is realize a system of either escrow or direct transaction in which people do not have to trust a third party and where the network can solve these problems by itself. And for that we also need something called modular extendable standards. So as we could say, the challenge is considered. Hybrid assets are tied value tokens. To give an example, if we issue a hybrid asset on the counterparty blockchain and on the NXT blockchain, but also they have to be literally one and the same by being interchangeable between these blockchains. And that is where our challenge comes in. One of the ways we want to get this done is by using something called a proof of allocation table for individual nodes in the network. What they do is, just like what Bitcoin has with the blockchain, keeping track of transactions, in this case we're using a table, a proof of allocation table, to keep track of hybrid assets and what their state is in the network. For the rest, we don't need to reinvent the idea of the blockchain, so we can use blockchains also for keeping track of the value in each hybrid asset. So what this looks like from a distance is that we have the hybrid meta server, and it connects to all these different technologies and protocols. You could say all these systems that have a blockchain or ledger, but also it's possible to connect this to ledgerless systems. So this makes it possible to hook in alternative economies that existed way before Bitcoin, bringing this idea just a little bit further. We connect these hybrid meta servers using a darknet system like Tor or I2P, for example. And in that way, these meta servers can connect to other meta servers without having to worry about technologies like how to transfer routers. Well, while doing this, of course, it's imperative that we use state-of-the-art transaction methods. We want to have top-notch security, especially when moving value from one ledger or one system to the other. What we want to do is make use of multi-signature technology where possible. If that's not possible, there's also something that we call a haystack transaction that we could use to make sure that value could be transacted from one system to the other. Eventually, what we want to do is link digital payment systems together. And in first instance, we're thinking about blockchain systems like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Namecoin, NXT, Counterparty, Ethereum. But we also want to take this a little bit further. And via open transactions and Codius, we could also connect this to fiat money systems, or better still, other alternative economies that are not even online. Thank you for listening, and I hope this has given you a bit of an idea about what our project is about.